The son becomes the father, the father the son. This is all I can send you, Kal-El. It's not who I am underneath that defines me, but what I do. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Just because someone stumbles and loses their path doesn't mean they're lost forever. You're making me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I let my father die because I trusted him, because he was convinced that I had to wait, that the world was not ready. What do you think? With great power comes great responsibility. We are Groot. We are Groot. We are Groot. We are Groot. We're Groot. We're Groot. We're Groot. I'm with you till the end of the line. Tell me, do you believe? You will. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. And what are you? Genius. Billionaire. Playboy. Philanthropist. I am Batman.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Plunge-Cast, Plunge-POP show, where we talk to international guests from all over the world. Film, TV, comics, music, anything in the entertainment vein that's got to do with creativity. Professionals who are really putting themselves out there in the indie circuit, trying to get things done, tell their stories, play their style of music, or write their style, create their comic books. Whatever it is, we want to hear from you. If you're interested, hit us up on our About page. It's got the email there. Get in touch directly if you know myself online, or go through our Twitter page, which is PlungeNZ1. That's it, PlungeNZ1. But you've got all the other links there. So welcome today to Tom Konkle. We're going to be discussing film, his upcoming project that's on Indiegogo. We'll be looking at that more in depth later on. But as you know, I like to know more about our guests on a more a more open coffee table type, over the coffee cafe conversation style way of doing things, which I find is more a nicer way of knowing people than directing, just going, tell me your question, what's this all about?
Yeah.
So thank you, Tom, and thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
You are. I really appreciate being here. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about yourself before we get into the meat and grind of things.
Well, I came from a pretty simple background. I did not originally live in California. I felt like I always should be here. I remember when I was about 10 years old, I went and saw a movie. I think it was Star Wars. And I was driving home, and, I look at my parents. I'm about 10, and I'm like, I need to leave. I don't belong here. And they're like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And I said, I need to go wherever they make this and what they're doing with this. And they said, well, what about us? And I said, I'll put you in the home. I'll figure something out. I'm leaving. And I kept my promise. Right after I went to school, I did study theater. I studied literature, studied cinema at the time, but I also wanted a more well-rounded education, because I always felt like, as a filmmaker, the more you know about the world, you have curiosity about many things, it's kind of the perfect job as a storyteller, because it gives you an excuse to research. It's like, oh, I'm doing something on genetics. Let me learn everything about genetics, or art. Let me learn everything about painting. So it's such a great job, because it forces you to be inquisitive about so many things and in depth, but with a purpose. It's not just a hobby to dabble in these things. So I moved out right after I finished college and immersed myself in the culture, and said, you know what, I'm burning the boats. I'm not going back. I had no plan B. And fortunately, just through a lot of hard work, a few breaks, I make my living both as a filmmaker, an actor, video editor, all the different things. You have to have all these disciplines. And I've made some really great friends over the course of being here almost now 28 years almost. And those friends are all aspects of my interests and being in the business. And as far as me as a person, I really don't take myself very seriously, but I take what I do very seriously. And that keeps your sanity, I think. I think you would agree with me, is that you have to have an ethic, you have to have what you do, but at the end of the day, it's not this grand calling, it's a passion, it's something that you enjoy doing. I know what it feels like to be on both sides of the camera. And so for me, it's not just about effects or about technical, although I do love mastering everything from lenses and audio and VFX. But at the end of the day, we always remember life this way. And that's what we're about. It's about faces and how telling a story makes you feel. And I do it so that I can enjoy it through other people's eyes. You know, to know something about me as a person is I'm at my most joyful and found my bliss when I can sit down after I've done something and enjoy it again through someone else's eyes. Like see them enjoy it and know it's like, okay, this could be a laugh. Yes. You know, they like that. And this, it's so wonderful to reappreciate something. So I feel like, you know, my purpose in life is to just shine a light on different things and help people forget about their problems or watch some silly thing that I've done or some adventure or some escapist thing, and I'm happy. You know, I don't need to have a lot of the trappings of Hollywood. You know, if you become well known for just quality work, I'm fine with that. I don't need all the other things. And I have been humbled by life in that even at this point in my life, I'm still struggling and learning and doing everything I need to do, but I have the skills now to execute my dream and to be able to bring all these disciplines together and all these relationships. So I would say I'm very centered, and I've sort of found myself, and this where I am in my life is the next logical progression in what I'm doing as a person.
Excellent. Right. So now let's start with you. You know, that first experience of, like you said, Star Wars, what got you into it. And like, I mean, American kids, a lot of Americans talk about that's kind of like their creative, like this is where I'm going to start my journey. Now, how old were you at that time with Star Wars?
I was 10. It was a perfect age to see a movie that captured the sort of mythic spirit of going on an adventure, because remember, we're coming out of the Vietnam War, we're coming out of a lot of darkness, a lot of negative movies. So for a young boy to see something where it's like, oh, it's this other place, and there's this adventure, and you can build a world, and you can have this fantasy and live in it. It was powerful stuff, and it came at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually in darkness where the bright lights shine, right? Because like that's when you really need to escape. I know, like with my own life, there's been times where comics, music, like has been the escape away from the darkness. It's like, you know, if I'm feeling really down, I put on my headphones, you know, and there is Megadeth, or there is, you know, Metallica, or there is, you know, Obituary, right? Death metal. Or there is, you know, or there is Poison, you know, pour some sugar on me, or, you know, or sorry, that's Def Leppard. You know?
Videos. Directed one of Poison's music videos once. I did.
Right.
I actually did. Yeah.
So
yeah, isn't it funny, as humans, we listen to music that amplifies what we're already feeling? Like if we're depressed, we'll listen to depressing music to express in some new way. I find that fascinating, because you would think the instinct would be like, oh, I'm feeling down, I'm going to listen to really happy music. But actually, I'll listen to blues, or I'll listen to like John Coltrane or something when I'm down. And it makes it symphonic. It makes me understand the depths of the sorrow and makes it beautiful. And I think humans, we embrace that. Isn't it strange though? It's like if you're down, you want the blues sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's well, music, like, I mean, we know that music works in a different way to anything else, right? You know, like if you're just reading a book, it's just there. Whereas music is kind of like it's you got the words going in, and it's got the sound going in, and it really touches you on an emotional, you know, with the cadence and stuff
Sure.
and the rhythm of the music, it really touches you. And like, I mean, what is it like? I mean, they say like music is a language of love, you know, kind of thing, and that sort of
It's
really
prime.
works with us. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it goes cross-cultural. You know, there are certain
Mm.
tones that affect us, but I've always thought the ears are much deeper than the eyes. You know,
Yeah.
that's you can listen to music for 7 hours and not feel worn out, but if you had to watch something for 7 hours, you'd be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't take it."
Yeah.
I think there's more depth. Like we can listen to a really interesting conversation for 3 hours, you know, on the radio
Yeah.
or podcast, but it's music that is it's a soundtrack of life, and I think we use it to amplify what we're feeling, but also I think it makes time and space your perception of it different. Like I'll play music
Mm.
in the car and I'll arrive somewhere and I'll be like, how did I get here? That was
Yeah.
a 40-minute drive and I was listening and it went by in a minute.
Mm. Now, let's start with you know, growing up. What was it like? I mean, like we were just talking on here. You know, your dad's parents are in the 90s, you know, and that's friggin' amazing to have, you know,
Yeah.
that parents that old. Um, you know, I've got elderly parents as well, so I really appreciate every moment with them. But let's talk about what it was like growing up and how, you know, what sort of background you came out of to get into film, because like there's a huge journey there, right? From being
Yeah.
a 10-year-old kid watching Star Wars to now. So what was it like, you know, growing up in a home at
It's
that
got
time?
weird for them because I was swore I was adopted because you know they were not inclined that much to the arts, but they supported me in that. I was
Mm.
actually the first person in my family to ever go to college,
Right.
and my mom and my dad were very supportive. I remember instead of, you know, the traditional things that some people would want, I wanted some of that stuff, a train or a ball, but I also
Mm.
wanted a Bell and Howell 8 millimeter camera and these other things. And my
Yeah.
dad, to his credit, took me down to the catalog store and said, "Okay, get one." And my
Mm.
mom, I remember, I really loved painting and being a comic book artist. You understand this? It's like
Mm.
I would be drawing and I'd learn, you know, drawing on the right side of the brain, on the left side of the brain,
Yeah.
and so I was into music, and none of them had ever played. So I
Mm.
don't know where it came from because I was the only person that I played piano for 15 years,
Mm.
and I painted, and I would made movies, and I wrote, but none of that was around me. Like when we went to my grandparents' house, they didn't own a radio, they didn't have any records, they didn't have any. I mean, they went to bed when it got dark. So
Wow.
I was really different and odd that way, and I think to their credit, though they didn't understand it and whatever, they did embrace
Mm.
it. And I think that's important for anyone in a form. If whether it's
Yeah.
parents or a mentor or someone, it's funny. It's very Joseph Campbell myth. It's like if
Mm.
someone comes into your life that's a mentor or brings that adventure to your door, those people are the people that foster you as an artist. That tell you it's okay. You know, you can try it. We're going to support you.
Mm.
We're going to create. You cannot create in chaos, but you also can't create only in survival mode. I think you know what I mean. You know, where it's like if you're worried about just the basics, it's very hard to what I call carve out tinker time,
Yeah.
where if you know you're working on a comic or something. Well, if you're worried about your next meal, you're not in the
Yeah.
same place as you are when you're like, okay, I've got a couple hours to tinker and come
Yeah.
up with. So creating a little pocket for me to have tinker time was super important,
Mm.
and they did allow that to happen. And though there may not have been like you know simpatico where I could they're like oh they're playing and they're doing this, they supported it. And I think growing up, the way that I made friends is very much the way I make friends now. It's always
Mm.
friends with purpose. I remember
Right.
I had this idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do like a haunted Halloween when I was a
Yeah.
kid. I got everyone else to do it, and I said, but let's not do it for October. Let's do it in the middle of the summer when they don't expect a haunted Halloween forest.
Mm.
And so all of my friends would be like, well, he's going to be the zombie, and he's going to do the blood, and he's going to film it. And they
Mm.
became great mates and great friends. But we didn't just knock around, you know, with a bat breaking down signs or something. We were friends that met and also did this cool thing, you know.
Right.
And I'm the same way, you know, now I'm in my 50s and I'm the same way. My great dear friends are all people that I could also pick up the phone and go, "Hey, you know that script you wrote with the thing, let's do this or whatever." So I think
Mm.
it was formative. You know, I think we as an artist we keep revisiting the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Thematic how we make our relationships. And I'm living very much an authentic way that way.
I think you know, the way we grow up in those early years really teaches us how to like relate to people around us.
Yeah.
Like I like as soon as you said that about your friends, I was thinking that's how I behave around my friends. I'm like, who do I bring along for the ride? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this. Oh, that's right. Shane does art. It'll be cool to jam up with him. Oh, and Mike does literature. Oh, and Mark does
Yeah.
filmmaking.
Yeah.
And all this. I go, let's bring them together and we'll do this thing.
You're right. And you
But
know what? More positive though. Let's be intellectually honest. You can
mm,
go to the bar, get drunk with them, and have nothing to show for it,
yeah,
or you say, "Come on, guys, let's record a song, or let's jam,
yeah,
or let's write something, or do it." To me, it's the same friendship. It's the same time, and
yeah,
you can talk about life and do whatever, but you actually kind of have something to show for it. Versus,
mm,
well, that was 10 years, and I just sat at the end of a bar talking.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that, but for my taste, I love to have that little thing of like the
mm,
memento of like, well, yeah, we had a friendship, but it was positive because
yeah,
we created this or we did that, or what a great experience, we went on a road trip, we went to this place and we did it, rather than, oh yeah, I got together with my friends, we wrecked a car.
yeah.
It's like there are two different ways of looking at life, and I would
Mm.
prefer to have positive, constructive friendship.
Yeah, because talk about road trips. I went on road trips last, what I could yesterday. We did
Yeah.
a 10-hour road trip.
Well,
Went there, spent 4 hours there, to a concert, three bands, and then came back within 10 hours.
that's
And
great.
you know, and so, but I noticed how quickly that time went getting there. How
Yeah.
quickly those 2.5 hours just went, or 3 hours went away, because we're talking, learning about each other and stuff, and talking about this,
Yeah.
this podcast today, and talking about what what I do and what they do, because they're
Yeah.
musicians. So and I'm like, okay, I do this thing, and
Right.
but and we're talking about like how creativity works, because in a band you've got each person does different things that makes this one song, and it can be like four chords, right, four notes, whatever. And because punk bands, kind of like, there isn't, like, in a sense that there isn't so many different notes you're playing, like a like classical and all that stuff.
Right.
But when you bring all those three guys together, and they, with their three different instruments, they make a great thing, which is very much like when you're doing filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like you said, with your friends, you've got all these different aspects. Now, a director on their own is just there going, I've got this great idea, you
Yeah.
know,
You're
and then you
nothing
got to go, well,
than your crew.
this,
Yeah.
yeah. And we're talking about sound earlier as well, like you got to have somebody doing the sound.
You know what? You're right. The analogy I would say is when I'm directing a feature, I've had big crews where, with Troubles My Business, it was sometimes two cameras and 35 people on the crew.
Yeah,
It's more conductor, it's sometimes being a lead, but it's more a conductor because, say, the conductor's picking what we're going to think or what
mm,
we're going to play, but also they may have a distinct vision that, and they bring each area in on that vision by communicating it. This is how fast we're going to interpret this. This is the loudness this is what we're going to emphasize. And a good director allows for the happy accidents that occur on a set, that
mm,
a really confident film director doesn't need to clamp down on everything. You need to know, this is the lens I want. I have a point of view. This is the feeling I
mm,
want. This is what elements need to happen. I can answer your questions, but at the end of the day, if a great idea comes in, you can't, well, I didn't think of that, so no. Or I fire someone
yeah,
every day just to make them all live in fear. And it's like, well, if they're in fear, then they're not giving you your best because they resent you. But
yeah,
beyond that, they're not going to give you the A game with a little extra because they're like, well, this guy's crappy and I don't want to give him that. You know?
yeah,
So you really are conducting, but also a really confident person has vision and then
mm,
allows for everyone's vision to be additive to it rather than no, 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 no. Because it may be better than what you thought it was going to be if you just shut up and let it happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about teamwork, is like, you don't always have the answer, and like,
Yeah.
you can look to someone and go, hey, what do you
Right.
think?
What do you think?
Because if we're not like, we're not the be all and end all. Not any one single person of us isn't we don't know not
Yeah.
everything out there. and I think what I found was like when we were working on teams, like, you know, uh, you have the vision, right? You're the director. You have the vision of what it's going to look like. But like somebody might go, well, that lighting might work better if you shine it this way, or if you use this music, bit of instrumental here, it might lift that emotion a bit more. But you when you look, like, it's like me when I'm writing the story, I'm like going, this is my description. So I send it off to the illustrator, comes back and goes, okay, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me change the bubbles around a bit, make it work differently. And then I'll send it off to the colorist. It goes, okay, you know what? I need to really change what I'm doing here, because what's being shown is much better than what I started with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to creativity, is that sometimes many cooks do help, but they're more like a restaurant rather than you got your sous chef, you got your your commie or whatever the other parts of the area, all trying to make this vision go ahead. And as you as a director, who is like the director there, is going, well, all these guys are part of this, getting this vision out. So let's talk about your middle school, next stage up, junior, then you got your friends getting together to make a film. I love the idea that your parents, who not artsy
at all,
were so encouraging of that. I know. I remember how good it felt for me when I said to my mom, like, I don't want to do restaurants anymore. I don't want to be a chef anymore. Doing my second bar, and I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And she goes, well, do whatever makes you happy, and I'll back you.
Wow.
This is me at 22 years old. And mom goes,
love. That is love, because it doesn't even necessarily serve her best interest to say it, but still say it. That's love. And you're absolutely right. When someone says to you, I'm going to create the space, and you treat what they say to do as an opinion and not a command, where it's like, look, I know you want me to go to X college, but I want to be a mechanic. You go and be the mechanic, because their opinion was you should do this, but that you shouldn't live your entire life going, well, I did what everybody else told me to do, and then maybe I'll be happy. It's like, no, if you're not automatically happy, nothing's going to happen to make you happy. You have to start happy. It's appropriate when something terrible happens. You're like, right now I'm not that happy, but in general, I am happy. You're not going to be happy if you lived your life for somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a great story. I'm glad that she said that to you, because it changed the path you were on.
Yeah, it really freed me, because you look at it, this is like when I was 21 years old. I just turned 50 a couple of months back. And that's what, 39 years of me going, was the last? No, 29 years of me going, like, what does it really makes me happy? Art has always made me happy. Music has always made me happy. And I had to be reminded that about 5 years ago that this is exactly what makes me happy. And then that also made me think, like, well, it's not drinking that makes me happy. It's not me being, it's doing silly things make me happy. It's actually being creative makes me happy.
Absolutely.
And I think your support from your parents for that, is, a lot of people don't have that, right? A lot of people do not have that. Because I've known people who've said, you should be a rugby player. That's all you're supposed to be doing. Right. You are not doing art. You're not going to do murals on the walls that's all over New Zealand that everybody enjoys.
Right.
Right? No, you're going to go. You're going to be a rugby player, and that can break people early on. And you kind of something like, well, why do people do some it takes them forever to get out of that horrible situation where they feel down on themselves? It's because somebody said something negative early on that stopped them from doing something very cool with their life.
Yeah, you're right. We were talking about Joseph Campbell briefly, about the mythic structure in Star Wars. He tells a great story about what you just said. He was sitting in a restaurant, and he heard a couple. It was a man, a woman, and their child, and they're sitting at the table. And the child is trying some other food. And I want to try this. And the mother says, yeah, go ahead and try that. And the dad goes, you can't tell him that. And she goes, well, you can do whatever you want. He said, you can't tell him to do whatever he wants. Look at me. I haven't done one thing I wanted to do my entire life.
Yeah.
Wow. I have one thing I wanted to do my entire life.
You kind of feel like this is a person who's broken.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
He's just broken because like you never got to choose what you wanted in life, and even at that age now,
normal. It becomes normal. Don't tell him that. Look at me. I've not done one thing my entire life I wanted to do, and it stunned him because he thought, well, that's not following your bliss. That's the opposite. That's somebody who. You can't even say, well, you know, he went down to the subway and he died a little bit every day, but he did it for his family. Well, he's doing that with a purpose to do that. What this man was saying was, I didn't make a single choice I wanted to do. I didn't have the freedom in my mind to make up anything. And somehow that's heroic, you know, and I'm going to pass that on to the next generation. And I thought, well, you know what? That must be what movies and music and comic books and everything resonates with people, is you live vicariously in doing the heroics and the story that you never get to.
That's it. And that's what storytelling really is. It's like, I want to be that hero. I want to be that you know, that tough guy. You know, I want to be that car driver. You know,
I want to try it on, and I want to feel like after I've completed it, finished reading your comic, I finished watching your movie, for a few minutes, I'm walking out and I feel like that guy. You know, I feel like I lived that. And it can be anyone. I always laugh when people are like, oh no, you know, it has to be a certain kind of hero. It's like, no, when I was a kid, I didn't need to see another kid my age. I'd go see Clint Eastwood. You know, I would go see Samuel Jackson. I would see all these people and I'd be like, I want to be like that. Now that's aspirational. I want to be like these characters. And to me, when you walk out of it and you feel like them for a minute, that's the power of the storytelling, because then it translated as I never thought it would, where it's like, oh, you know, I kind of was going through that in my life, or, you know what, I should take a chance here, or, you know what, I'm not going to take that crap from these people. And that is the power of storytelling, because I think as cultures, we always glom onto these myths for a reason. Because that's us teaching. That's time capsule. That's time travel. Like a book, you write it down, it travels in time, and now people learn from that wisdom. And when we forget that, and when we put that aside, we lose that continuity as humans, where it's like, okay, well, now we got to learn that lesson again. But if you listen to the myths of all cultures, they're all valid, and they're all teaching you, how do you live your life? How do you take on these problems in life, and what do you aspire to? You know, what makes a hero or a heroine rise above, and what's a tragic story? What are things to avoid? A tragedy is another kind of roadmap, because when a tragic tale will tell you, look, the accumulation of all these bad decisions or all the choices this person made led to a tragic end, and that's just as informative as a happy ending. Yeah. So we have to embrace these myths, and you know, movies and comic books are just modern myth making, and they really shouldn't be commoditized. They really shouldn't just be some corporation going, well, this myth did well, let's keep telling. Like, no, we need to have all of those myths explored and realize that there is a commonality to all of them. You're in New Zealand, I'm here in the US, but the truth is the truth, and wisdom is the wisdom. The wisdom of your background and your culture is just as valid, and the way that it travels is through story.
That's right. And I think, like, you know, we've I mean, like they say, well, we've been telling stories to each other since the cave painting days, and sitting around the fire and stuff. And I think a lot of that is slowly being lost, because, like you mentioned, like commodity, it's like there is no new stories being told, or not enough. I think that's what I love about the independent creative circuit, you know, in whatever, like music, everything, you know, comics, film, is that's where, you know, not only do you hear fresh ideas, but you see new faces, and you actually see new stories come up. Because a lot of time people complain about, oh, you know, we're seeing that same over and over again. So, well, why don't you support something that's new, and stop complaining, you know?
Right. Like a new thing comes out and you wonder, well, why didn't you go see my movie, dude? You wanted something new, but you didn't go. You know, and you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. And here's what my thought is on it. There's a difference. With an independent production, it's something being made by at least one person who believes in it and was not assigned to it. And what I mean by assigned to it is, take a look at like something you didn't create. The people making Star Trek right now did not make Star Trek and did not think of it. To them, it's on the resume. They're like, haven't done science fiction. Should probably check that off. You know, and there may be some great people that are science fiction fans, but at the end of the day, it didn't come from here as an original thought. They were assigned to it. And,
That's right. Yeah.
With my own work, I will work with someone else to make their vision come out. You know, if I'm working as a writer, an actor, a director, to get their vision across. But my stuff is stuff that I wanted to see, that I passionately, that if you didn't pay me, I would still make it. And to me, that does come from a different place. As you just said, it's not a sort of corporate white paper that comes down like, well, the kids seem to like. The job of a filmmaker is to be a trendsetter, not to follow a trend.
Right.
You know, and to that lost now where they're quantifying it and they're going, well, the algorithms. I mean, the worst thing that ever happened was on Netflix, where it looks at the one thing you're watching and then suggests everything that's just that.
Yeah.
Versus when you and I were growing up, you had to watch what came on, and it might not be something that was in your lane, but you'd be like, hey, I never even knew I liked an MGM movie. You know, it's like, I never knew I liked, like, I found Bruce Lee, you know, and I was like, if I had not watched a martial arts movie and it never suggested Bruce Lee, then I'm in this narrow lane of like, I want everything to be like this, you know, and there is something to be said for a cultural sitting down and just looking at the art that's presented to you and exposing people to new things and ideas, because that might be the next trend. You can't predict it where you're like, well, okay, this thing was big, so now we're going to make 100 of those. It doesn't, you can't quantify art.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at what happened with the 90s with the grunge scene, right? Like, people got excited with like the way people dressed, and like, I mean, like, especially like, you know, you wear a flannel shirt because of where they came from, you know, forestry workers, or, you know, winter and all that, Seattle. And next thing, there was like $1,000 shirt, you know, made by Gucci or whatever, or Calvin Klein, and same thing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And you know what? No company sat down and said, you know, I'm going to create music that goes with a flannel shirt. That's going to take off. No one. I know everyone wants to pretend that people are thinking of this stuff and doing it. They are simply the middlemen that deliver those things on a mass scale. But for them to become the driving engine is as stupid as an insurance company telling you what medical treatment you need. Because if you think about it, like, well, I would have a doctor tell me what I need, but I need to talk to this insurance company that has no doctors to tell me. So let's have a distributor tell me what movie I need to make because their last movie did well. And I'm like, this is the business model?
Yeah.
When you point it out, people are like, oh, well, that's stupid. That's not, wait a minute. I guess it is like that. And it is. Can you imagine your local movie theater and the person that makes the projector decides on what you're going to watch based on what their projector is? Well, we got a projector and that shows this particular kind of film. So we need more films that fit in that projector. It's like, are you insane? Yeah, it doesn't work that way. That's not art.
Well, this is basically AI, isn't it? With the whole idea, like, okay, I'm going to throw this in there, and it's going to give me this, and then I'm going to throw that back out there. And it's like, people have, you know, the companies have always like thought, like, you know, especially studios have thought people are fickle, right? And so they don't know what they want. We know what's better for them. And so we'll give them it. And then, like, we've watched in the last 3 years, especially, you know, with Disney, like, you know, biggest name out there. So, when you look at Disney, they basically said, well, you guys want superhero movies. You want superhero TV. You want more Star Wars. We want this. So, we're going to tick these boxes off. And then people go, you know what? Not really.
Yeah.
Not those stories. We want a George Lucas stories.
Yeah.
And you're giving us that guy's story.
Yeah, you and I are simpatico on that. I was going to say, isn't it funny that Lucasfilm, an independent production company built around someone's vision, did nothing but come out with original things that no company would release? No one wanted Indiana Jones. No one wanted Red Bulls. No one wanted Willow. No one wanted Star Wars. And now It's at the biggest company in the world making the same things and going, how come no one wants to see this? You know, you're absolutely right. It is the funniest thing to me that the very thing that made Lucasfilm great, have you noticed not one original Lucasfilm movie has come out in all the time it's been at Disney? Can you name one thing? Nothing. And they have more money than anything else. They could have done 5 $10 million movies a year trying out an Star Wars was what, 14, 17 million approximately, the first one. They could have tried that. If they could go to a guy like me and go, okay, right or wrong, if you have a couple ideas, this thing doesn't need to be a home run, knock it out of the park. If it makes 50 million, we'll be fine. Do you have some original science fiction ideas? Do you have a couple of adventures? Do you want to do a pulp comic adventure? You know, like George used to do. Do you have an idea for that? They could have done that every single year.
Talking about that, right? So I'm looking at by the numbers. That's something that I go to. It's not by the numbers; it's the numbers.
Yeah, I know the numbers. Yeah,
I want to bring this page up. Talking about independent filmmaking, right? So this is a movie I've discussed a bit on here, on about 100 different things about keeping promises and stuff. Now,
yeah,
you look at this movie.
Know to that movie. Everybody.
Yeah. Everybody, like, this is a 5 million. Let me see, where are we at the bottom? Full financials, right?
Yeah.
So around the world, all time is $230 million.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that movie was made.
It was made for what was it?
It was about 15 million.
14 to 15, wasn't it? For 14.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. $14.5 million.
Yeah.
And now with adjustments, it's 83.9 million has made in profit.
That's
right.
Amazing. Yeah.
Because when you got, it's like 50-50. So if you're spending 15 million on the movie, it's about 15 million, or approximately that much on advertising.
30 million and you're laughing. Yeah. You made 30 million, you break even. Yeah.
Exactly. And here they are with almost $200 million profit from a 15. And here they are making $300 million movies that are bringing a third.
They're losing 500. Yeah. But see, I firmly lay it at the feet of like someone who acquires Lucasfilm, whose very mandate was, let's try some new ideas. Let's try a fantasy. Let's try a pulp adventure. Let's try it. Why wouldn't you? Really, honestly, why wouldn't you? Once you acquire it, you're like, well, the reason I bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion was because they had these little scrappy films they did that then took off. Maybe I should do one or two of them. But if you look at it, in 11 years or something, not one movie came out that was not Star Wars or a redo of Indiana Jones, or they tried to do Willow as a TV series. It's like not one series or movie was, hey, this book was really good, maybe we should make it as a movie. To me, that is, in a nutshell, the problem. Is my company, we have Lumen Actors, we want to make genre movies. We do not have any pretension we're going to change the world. I want to make escapist genre movies, but I do want to make them based on some original ideas. I don't want to redo Harry Potter. I don't want to, I've been in pitch meetings where like, we really like your idea, however, we own the Little Rascals. Do you have any Little Rascals thing? I'm like, we've done that. Why would I remake the thing? And so to me, it's a malaise that an independent filmmaker is just going to have to crack it, like Sound of Freedom, where you go, what, if you gave me 15 or you gave me 30 in resources, 30 million in resources, if I could make 15 times your money, isn't that what you're trying to do, is make money? You're not buying an insurance policy by going, you know what, if I make this the most expensive film ever made and make $1 billion, then I won't go out of business. Like, how is that a business plan? Like, I'm looking at some of these things, like there's train wrecks waiting to happen where it's, okay, you spent $350 million on the Marvels, okay?
Yeah.
That movie has to make $1 billion to break even.
Yeah.
Why? And again, that is 10 other movies you could make in that. You could take a look at a comic book that hasn't been made and done. You could look at an original property and make it and still reap those benefits. Still, you're like, well, nobody's heard of it. People hearing about this stuff now is not translating to box office. They've heard of Indiana Jones. It doesn't mean they're going to show up. It just means you're retreading the same thing again, and people are getting savvy to it.
I mean, if you could give somebody like, I mean, like if you're a studio and you're a multi-billion-dollar studio, and you go, well, that guy's after the $5 million to do this thing. It's like, if we fail, we fail at $5 million. But that guy's asking for $300 million, and if we fail, that's $300 million.
We're out of business.
Does it make sense to not go, hey, here's 300, here's $5 million, go do it. Let's see how it does, and if people love it, let's promote the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's the business model. That's the problem. You're absolutely right. Rather than take little chances that could reap these rewards, they're buying an insurance policy on art. We talk about quantifying art. They're quantifying it, going, well, the vectors on this guy are good, and this is in right now, we'll do that. And they hope. But the problem is they're speculating so much that there's too much at stake to take any creative risk. And when you lose the ability to risk, what you end up with is something that pleases no one passionately. And the problem with that is, we see in the 70s, there was this explosion of creative film that was coming out in all genres. And that was because the equipment was more available, but they were like, okay, well, studio stuff isn't working anymore. So what's this Scorsese guy got? Disney is not used to working with auteurs. They want someone that works within the committee, and they tamp everything down. But Netflix is just as guilty of it. Who are the great directors that have emerged from Netflix? Can you name one that started at Netflix and emerged and was incredible? Exactly.
The only thing I can think as a storyteller is Good Games, right? Oh no.
But
the guys who did
originate with Netflix. He was
this thing.
Yeah.
Stranger Things, right? That's the only thing that's really sticks out. That and Squid Games.
And what have they done other than Stranger Things? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Netflix is not like Roger Corman, where it was a crucible of ideas and Coppola, all these people could come together. Netflix isn't a tech company. They're the delivery system for movies. So anything that sticks out, anything that goes beyond it, obviously would be tamped down. And it's very interesting to me that you have a lot of terrific directors and artists slumming at Netflix, where you're like, oh yeah, this guy, give him, $200 million, he'll do a Netflix thing. But they're not growing talent there. They're not creating stars. Who are our Netflix stars? Who are our Netflix screenwriters? Other than the Duffer Brothers, who only do a Netflix show, I can't think of anybody. Isn't that crazy? The Russo brothers do Avengers to do a Netflix movie.
Yeah. I mean, like...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, if we really think about it, the other thing I can think about is Extraction, right? With Chris Evans. And that's based on a...
Worth that one?
Gosh, is that a Spanish... I think there's South American writers on the comic book. That's from a comic book base, right? But they changed the setting to Bangladesh,
right.
And that it actually made it even better because it was a setting had been changed, and it worked totally different because you got to see something fresh, right? Because we didn't see the criminal elements of this country before. We saw it over in South America all the time. We see the drug trade and all that.
Yeah.
And now we see it in Bangladesh, where there's a lot of crime happens in every country. There's an underbelly in every country.
Absolutely.
And I think, and that stood out for me in a really cool way. And but I mean, for Captain America to be doing that would have been a step backwards, rather than being the next big thing. But you're right, where they don't go, okay, all right, you've come from.
Grow a project
to that.
Yeah. And
you
get a
next new thing.
Yeah, there's still no theatrical on it. You don't see people with posters. To me, the problem is you can have something come out like a Chris Pratt sci-fi that's like $250 million. no one talks about it. It's gone in a month. There's no poster.
Yeah.
There's no soundtrack. There's no following, because it's the same postage stamp as, you know, this film. And you're like, well, which is newer, not which is better. And
That's it.
you know, the guy that did Extraction, more kudos to him. But I would love to see, now that you've done Extraction and Extraction 2, what is the other thing they'll support that can go on? Or are we growing that person to now have them release something that's their thing, that's really beautiful, they want to do? And I'm just not seeing that. I guess I'm looking for a crucible. You know, what's the crucible that is growing it, with, be it Amazon Studios or Netflix? This is where money's being spent, but I'm not seeing anything growing. You know, it's people slumming where you get a huge star and you have them in there, but they were a star before they were there. And
that's it.
Yeah, the director, they were big 40 years ago. You know, it's like we can champion them and go, well, that's great. You know, Martin Scorsese got to do another movie for Netflix, but they didn't grow that movie. They didn't.
Right.
That's not their team bringing it. Versus when you and I were growing up, that explosion in the 70s and 80s came up with people. Those were grown by an environment of like, look, guys, this is how much money you have. I want it out in March. Come up with something. And you get creating all these great B movies. And that was the crucible that grew all these great writers, John Sayles, all these, James Cameron, all these different people working. Wouldn't have happened without that. And we need that. We need a culture of that, where anybody that has a voice and a vision has a place to go with an independent film or a story or comic book, and has access to the people. You don't have to please everybody, just enough people. You got your people. You've got the people that go, I get it, I like it, and you're making enough money on people where you get to do it again. There doesn't need to be unlimited growth. We don't need to have more profit every year. Just make enough. If $1 million is enough to stay in business, you don't have to make $2 million the next year. Make $1 million every year and make the book you want to make, or make the movie you want to make. Why have we now assigned it to where, well, you know, he's not a success because he made $20 million this year, but he only made $21 million the next year.
Yeah.
Million's fine. I'm good. If I make that every single year, I'm going to be okay. But that's news now, where we talk about, hey, you know, he didn't make exponentially more. Well, that's the problem we have with the companies, but also that's how we're treating art. It's become like a sport, you know. And for you and me, man, I'd be happy, man, if I made enough money, cover the nut, and then make the thing I want to make, and enough people agree. You know, if they don't agree with me, I get out of the business. If I put something out and people are like, you suck, you know, I don't want your movie, I don't want your story, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. But if enough people come back and say, you know what, I like it, I dig what you're doing, okay. And see, that sounds to some people like, whoa, he's not trying to be successful, he's not trying to grow. That, to me, the definition of growth is just being able to do what you love and have an idea on Monday and execute on Friday.
Right.
That's all you need. You don't need more every single day.
No, talking about building directors on auteurs, like one of the things that, you know, one of the production companies out there, and I've got a friend who's a huge you know, who's a huge horror fan, as I am, right? We're both horror fans, and he's more deep into it than, you know. I just enjoy it for the genre. I mean, I grew up reading, you know, Stephen King, Clive Barker, you know, watching all types of movies, so I don't have an actual favorite. But if you look at Trauma and you look at James Gunn? James Gunn?
Oh, James Gunn.
James Gunn. So he came out of Trauma, where now he's a, you know, and everybody knows the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, but I mean, Trauma is an independent circuit, you know, a production company with Leonard. Now, their Toxic Avenger has just been made into a, you know, major film, right? And so, but with Elijah Wood and so on. But like, this is, when we look back in the 80s, Toxic was made by an indie company who was this, you know, a guy with a mob, fell into a freaking toxic waste. Now he's avenging crime, you know, or, you know, going against criminals and all that. And now, you know, I mean, I love Elijah Wood; it's great, but you're now, you know, it's like you're rehashing the same thing. In a sense, it feels like, okay, Toxic was great at that time. It had everything around it in the 80s, right? And so now that it's a bit more kind of like nostalgic, looking back at it in a nostalgic sort of way, rather than looking at it as like, wow, what was a great time to make, great character that we got to here. It's now like,
Right.
well, rather than going, well, what's the next thing we can, somebody out there want to do stuff.
Right.
No, you look at Bloomhouse, right?
Yeah.
You just mentioned there, like how they just do $10 million movies, $20 million, and
Yeah.
it's out there all the time, and it's becoming
People are shocked
successful.
they're making money, and people, I'm like, who is shocked by that?
Yeah.
You're right. You put, like, hey, you know what? I think this is a $10 million idea. Go ahead and put it out. Some people agree with you. Try and do a quality movie, and people are like, oh my God, they made so much. Like, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Like, some of them are going to be bad. Some of them will be good, but it's what you think. It's like music. A bad musician cannot play. A good musician knows how to play, but a great musician knows what to think to play.
Right.
And so Blumhouse is creating a situation where 3, 4, 5, 6 films can come out in a year. So any one of those films being a hit covers the other films. But more importantly, that's 6 chances to think of something else, to think of something different. Because Toxie came out, it's of its time, it's of its moment. The person that thought of that making this film. So, at the end of the day, if we're honest with ourselves, we go, you know what? They're going to come up with a version that's almost as good as the original and cost 10 times more.
Right.
And that will be it. And we'll go,
that's it.
It was almost as good. It would be like coming out with The Road Warrior now, not with George Miller, not with that cat, doing it yet again, and nothing new to say, just reproducing it and going, well, this one costs $400 million and almost as good as the original. It's an insane waste of resources when there's so many people out there that want to just try something else.
So one of the Blumhouse productions is like with Jordan Peele, right? With Get Out.
Yeah, he's so there's someone.
Yeah,
what we're doing.
So it's a movie that I've only seen recently, but look at the budget on this: $4.5 million.
And not one person. No, not one person said, "Oh, I would go see this," but it was only $4.5 million.
That's it. It's the budget. I'm going for it because it costs so much to make.
Yeah, it's like nobody went, 4.5, I'm going to pass on that. No, said no ever. And look at the gross on that thing.
Yeah. That's $240 million profit.
Yeah. In the first weekend, it made $33 million. And you know what? It was good. That's the secret formula.
Yeah.
And you know why? He could take a risk. At 4.5, you could go, you know what? I want to cast the people I cast. I want to tell the story, right or wrong. It's like live theater. In live theater, the stakes are, I'm going to put it up in a 99-seat theater. I might be wrong, right or wrong, at least what I believed. It wasn't what a committee of 40 other people said. Well, you need to put a camel in it. And you need to do this. And Blue's so big right now. You get to at least put it up once the way you want to see it. There's another one, man. They killed it. And look at the budget on that. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, if you've got evidence like this out here, right? And this is filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah. It's seriously for only $12 million, and it made $100 million gross US and Canada and 179 worldwide. Yeah. Now, to me, if you wanted to make money, that would be who you would be talking to.
Yeah.
That's exactly. And the Island in the Stars, I'm the same way. People's first question is, why does this cost so little? That's literally the first question. And I'm like, well, because we're not paying overhead. I'm not sending a shot out every time I want to change it. We're not getting billed because we do it in-house. It's a sci-fi adventure, but what you're paying, the grip doesn't change. On a $300 million movie, you're not paying any of the crew that much more money. What you're doing is paying all the admin, all the above the line, all the extras, all the stuff, and you're wasting all that money in post because you're sending it out to 15 different vendors all over the world who are marking it up. And with Island in the Stars, I think it has an IMDb. I don't know. Maybe it does. So the thing that people ask is the wrong question. It's not, why does this cost, in our case, the final budget is US 25, which in Australia translates to about 33, in Aussie. And that also is offset by their producer's offset fund, which, 40% can come back as spendable equity. So, all right, we're talking 17. So they go, well, why does it cost so little? Because we know these movies need to cost. I'm like, actually, they don't. If you
No.
look at the salaries of the people, what they're making, you're spending all this money. We're value engineering this thing when we're writing it. I wrote it with a guy who's a visual effects supervisor, and
Right.
we value engineer this thing. This is the movie we want to see, but by the same token, we know that we can go ahead, we can build this set, we can augment this thing. It is not going to cost you $200 million.
Yeah.
And The Creator was another example of that, where people are like, oh, how did he do this
Yeah.
for 8? Dude, all he did was just do his own effects.
Mm.
He got a camera that was a $4,000 camera, shot everything, and put it up with Island in the Stars aesthetic.
Well, yesterday, right? So I shot in 1080p on my mobile phone.
Mm-hmm.
The entire concert, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go pause or stop, and one song, a next song, next song, and I've got about 16 gigs of memory there, so I could I think it was like 400 megs for one 3-minute song at 1080p quality image.
Right.
Whereas before, I would have to lug around a freaking camera like this, which I have done, by the way. A Sony or a Panasonic on my shoulder to film a freaking short film.
Yeah. No, technology has made it possible to do that. But again, it goes back to our music analogy. It's what you think to film and how you think to film it. There's more bad movies being made now because the technology is accessible. The thing that you need to do is, it costs nothing to have a good idea. And what you need to do is, what am I thinking of? What am I trying to put together? In the case of Island in the Stars, I wanted to do an escapist movie, an adventure movie set in a faraway place that elevated Australian culture. I said, everybody made it in the future. Indigenous people made it in the future. All these legends, in Australia, these acting legends can become the mentor to this woman who is going on an adventure. I used to love movies like that. I used to grow up, you probably did too, these movies about teams that come together, and they're like Jules Verne, and they're going, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, they're going Marine, they're going on these things. Where are those movies now? Like, when someone asks me, well, what's it like? I'm like, I don't know. I have to go back 40 years. I have to go back 50 years to say, well, what is it like? I don't know, Treasure Island. I don't know. What is it like? What difference does it make what it's like? What is it about? Like, good movies need to be about something. Wrath of Khan, Star Trek movie, but it's about aging. It's about male friendship. It's about, like, am I obsolete? Do I still have relevance? It's about revenge. It's about, is it drinking poison and hoping the other person dies? He poisons himself. Khan is going after him, but ultimately leads about his destruction. It's about an important male friendship between Spock and we're talking about human things, you notice. We're not talking about spaceships. We're not talking about other things. So science fiction lets you tell the truth. It's like comedy. It lets you be and confront things. This movie is about someone who's hiding from their destiny, hiding from their bliss. She's a flawed woman. She doesn't want to, she thinks she's doing the right thing. I'm going to stay where I am, take care of business. It's not my problem. I'm not going to go. And then when it comes to her as an adventure in Island in the Stars, she has to really search herself and go, what's the loving thing to do? Do I leave this behind? Do I leave behind what I think I'm taking care of to go find my connection to my father? Do I go follow this path? Do I listen to this Harold, who's kind of a questionable character? Vernon Wells' character in it is a questionable man. He's sometimes he's good, but it serves his own purpose to be good. And so that's what the movie's about. When I'm pitching the movie, it's not about the spaceships. It's not about that. All of that tells the story. But I came up with the characters, and I thought, well, what's a great place to play? Versus a lot of movies now are like, well, we got Star Wars and we got the font for Star Wars. What can we just throw into that universe and then we'll do something? It's like, no, what must the universe be to tell this story? And in this case, the universe is a kind of proper steampunk Victorian, where everybody, has a naval uniform and they're very formal, and there's repression of desires, there's repression within the society, but that's all very important because it echoes our main character, who has repressed her desire to follow her bliss. And so that an island in the Stars is ultimately about somebody, it's everybody's voyage of, like, do I go out there and do the risky thing, or do I just play it safe?
It's got this beautiful feel of, like, for me, I think, like Captain Harlock.
Yes. Yeah.
And but it goes a bit further than that, adding that steampunk area to it.
True.
And now it's something we haven't seen, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great thing about it. It's something new. And when you put this out there, you go, hey, look, it's a steampunk, pirate in space,
Master
and it's like, well,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and master and commander, and like you kind of like think, well, why haven't we seen this before? Well, that's because whenever somebody pitches something like this, they go, well, nah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not gonna work.
The bottom line is, it's like, Tom, wait a minute. How come we don't see this thing before? It's like they say no. They say, yeah, but that's scary, and no. And you're absolutely right. This right here, the reason we're doing it is twofold. And I like transparency. I'm big on intellectual honesty about it. This does two things. No one wants to be the first person in the boat when you're doing something like this. So this is seed money. This is the beginning of doing the admin. We're setting up a PTY in Australia. We're getting a lawyer. We're doing all those things. We've put sweat equity and our own money into this for a couple of years. There's only so far one can carry it before you have to go, okay, we need some other people to show that this is demonstrably somebody else is willing to buy a ticket. Somebody else is willing to do it. The second reason, if we're totally honest, is I need a proof of concept that if I go to somebody, I go, look, here's some people that want to see this. There are some backers. There's some people that not only give it lip service, but they voted with their pocketbook to say, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I decided to do this with the team. Lucinda Bruce, who's our Australian producer, Mike Smith, who's my business partner here in LA, Vernon, all the people, Emily, all these people that are involved, all want to make this film. We all believe in it. But beyond that, we want to show that beyond people just complaining about the way things are with movies and stories. Okay, here's somebody who knows how to make it. You've seen Vernon Wells in movies. I've made movies for 2 decades now. Here we are. We're asking you. So if you don't do anything about it, then there's no positive energy around this. You just want to say, oh, I hate Hollywood movies. I want to do it. Here's a booty perk, $6. Jump in. For $6, you can get on board and say, you know what, right or wrong, let's see if you can do something original with it. Here, I'll put some money into it. I'll be an eyeball on this thing. That's going to move the ball on this faster than anything else, because the person that's going to put in the second money on this wants to simply see interest and the fact that somebody else was voting with their pocket. You know what? I'll buy a ticket. And that's why we decided to do it. And it's been really interesting. Human nature is, we're in the last week. That's when you make most of your money, because everyone goes, yeah, I saw that campaign. Whoa, it's almost over. I better donate. You see that kind of an arc to it. So I'm doing a lot of outreach on it right now. There's Vernon. He's amazing. He's one of the main characters.
For people who don't know who Vernon Wells is, he's a huge, bad guy actor from out of Australia.
Yeah.
Right. So, he's the guy I like I was saying to Tom earlier, that like my first connection to him was like Arnie pushing a pipe through his gut and going, let off some steam, Bernard, but not only that, that's where he crossed over to to America. But prior to that, he was in Mad Max 2.
That's right.
So, that's a huge IP especially for Aussie, right? I grew up on Mad Max. My dad, dad let me watch it.
Indie film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Max were entirely not a company thinking of that. That was George Miller and Brian, his business partner, were writing that and coming up with it. And very important, because they were making a Hollywood style film with its own flavor. It's the first VHS tape I ever bought. And Vernon was the first celebrity I ever met in LA. And the irony of that is, all these years later, I'm on the set directing him in Trouble Is My Business. And I look up at him and I said, I met you when I was 21 years old in a store, in a Circuit City store. I was Christmas help. And I told him, one day I'm going to make a movie with you. And he's like, yeah, kid, whatever. And he's together. So you couldn't write something like that. But in a weird way, it just makes sense, because I was so into Australian film. When I was in college, my final thesis was about the Australian New Wave. Did a thing on, Picnic at Hanging Rock and George Miller and Peter Weir. And so this is just bringing full circle a passion I had anyway, which is how can I put my own spin and pay tribute to an amazing culture. You don't see a lot of Australian science fiction movies.
Yeah.
But also his Rolodex is amazing. The people that I'll tell you, the people, I can't say who they are, but the A-list people who I have gotten to look at this and said they would do it if there was money is amazing. And it's all because of Vernon.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like, you know, decades of work and building relationships with people. And I mean, like, you know, Tree Rock Relationships,
Yes,
the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, we always think of a Mad Max. We don't think of Road Warrior.
But everywhere else in the world, Road Warrior. And I remember the day I went to it blew me away. And I was a little too young to be in the theater seeing it, but I did see it. And the first car I ever bought looked like Max's car. I actually kitted it out to look like Max's car. It was a black Dodge Daytona Turbo. And the influence was so great on me. I didn't realize how much I had internalized it until I really sought out Vernon. And I said, you know what? I've done this film noir and I would love for you to be in it. Will you take a look?
Yeah.
And we became friends. And when I found out his bucket list included playing a duplicitous sort of piratey character, I was like, you know what? This is weird because I have Island in the Stars and you're genetically designed to be in this thing. And I wanted to have Emily be the focus of the story, and then the romantic lead, our sort of Luke Skywalker, was going to be an indigenous actor. I'm going to find someone who has chops, who has a stage background, but who always, what I hate is like, just because of who they are, they're always like, oh, he's the Aboriginal guy, he's the indigenous guy, and I think, I'm not even going to mention it. It's like, everybody made it. He's the guy, he's in the Navy, he's out there, there you go. But that says more than anything you could say. It's just, that's the guy, you know. And everybody made it in Australia. Everybody got into space, and this is the story that I'm telling. It's about her voyage, meeting these mentors. She loves this man. She's going on a journey, and at the end of the day, when you come out of it, it's escapist. There's no pretension to it. You just
and that's what we're missing. Like, I was just thinking, like we're saying, like, that's the guy. So like, we're finishing off the last, I think, 4 pages of a 16-page Family in Space, right? Comic book as part of a Robot Nations issue. I was like, I'd done the characters and I was thinking, like, you know what? I'll just play around with their ethnicity just for the hell of it, you know. Wouldn't it be cool to have something different? Because the first one had different people in it, and then this one might have different one in it, and then I'll have different in it, you know, because I'm writing a whole series. So each story, a short story that makes up these books, you know, they have different people in it, right? Different cultures in it, because that way I can just play around with people, and you know, you get to see yourself. Everybody wants to get to see themselves, but the main thing is, it was a story first, and that all I want to do is tell a story about a young couple with a young child, right? And how they deal with stress in a stressful situation. That was it. And then I thought, well, you know, what if I did this and did that? Maybe it'll be cool. And then that comes, and I think a lot of time that came last, right, for me. And it always comes last for me, because I'm like trying to play around with characters, because I don't want all my characters looking the same, right? Because everybody around me is different, right? I'm the only, you know, amongst my friends, I'm the only Indian in that group.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So I'm not going to have everybody in my comic books looking Indian, because that'll be stupid.
As if that's the only,
And so one story will have this, one story will have that. And I thought, you know what? I have a chance here to tell a whole lot of different stories with different people in different settings. But the story comes first. And I think a lot of things, why we see so much trash and why people aren't backing it, is because it's ethnicity first. See, if you tell me, hey, it's got an Indian actor, I'm going to go, so?
And
is it good story?
It's as dumb as you telling me, Tom, you got to see,
but it's got an Indian actor in it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't go to movies to see an Indian actor. I go see stories about something that's cool and exciting, something new, that's gonna like speak to me on an emotional level, because I want to connect with it. Like, I watch anime, right? And so anime is just moving in, you know,
Right.
pictures, drawings, yet done right, I can cry over that
Of
anime.
course. Yeah. And you don't
You
have to
know?
be Japanese in order to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's a wonderful thing that we're starting to live in a world where eventually you and I will create something, and they'll have no idea what we are as ethnicity. They'll just either like it or not. If I
Yeah.
came out with something and it was a samurai movie, they would be like, "Oh, well, he has to be Asian." Or you came out with something with white characters, they wouldn't know who you are. No one cares. I always say, said no one ever. It's like, well, I would go see Blade, but is he
Yeah.
it's a dumb thing we've gotten hooked up, and it's condescending, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because I would love for you to write something that has a white character in it. Who
Yeah.
cares? I can write something with an Indian, hey, how dare you write about with an Indian character? That
Yeah.
sounds
But that's the thing. So like talking about that, right? So I'd done a character and I changed it specifically for this reason
yeah,
because of Second World War and stuff. Okay, cool. And then I realized that people were looking at me sideways because I'd done that character, and I'm thinking, I want to change that I have to change the character now. And then
wow.
I just shut up. I just and then like the other day I was in a restaurant, and I was surrounded by Maori guys, and solid guys, right?
Yeah,
Seriously, you don't
yeah,
want to be messing with these guys because and they go like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I do comics and stuff, and oh, what, like Superman and stuff, like kind of like, here's what I do. So, well, have you got one that's Maori? And I go, I kind of tried that, but I'm a bit worried because whenever I do something like that, especially with Maori people, with Maori characters,
yeah.
people
You gotta be
give me the
careful.
side look. And I'm like, he said, well, we'd be really proud if you did that. And
Exactly.
so the other day, I wake up from a dream because a lot of my stories come from dreams and
Right.
all centers in my head, right?
That's
And
interesting.
so I
Yeah.
wake up and I go bang, bang, bang. I spend 3 hours writing out this thing, and I go, this is going my Maori character
Yeah.
just for you guys because you guys said you wanted it. So if
Right.
anybody says why I did this, I go, those guys,
Exactly. That's right.
blame them.
Right. And why not too? I mean, you should be allowed to do whatever character. And that's absolutely true. And how funny when you really meet the people that you're serving as an audience or that would want to do it. They're like, well, yeah,
Yeah,
of course I want you to do it. Don't hesitate.
yeah,
It's not a negative thing that we can all write about whomever we want, that it's a human
mm,
experience. I think we've gotten too tied up in well, I have to identify this and that, and I have to check these things. It's like, no, we should all be able, there should be Asian directors that are making Westerns. And if they
yeah,
choose all of a cast of something, if it's any good, who cares? You know, um, not once did I watch, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and go, I really would have enjoyed this if more guys from Wisconsin were in this.
yeah.
This it just doesn't have. How old was Beethoven when he wrote this? Because I don't really like older people's work. It's stupid. But that is where we're at with a lot.
We've got like what was it like? It wasn't Matthew McConaughey. Who's the guy that just had to do a had to put on a nose, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
doing Leonard Bernstein. Yeah,
yeah, and his family are happy, like
yeah.
really cool with it. But guess what? Social media isn't cool with it. The people in the mass media isn't cool with it.
Oh no,
Well,
the
so
family was okay with it. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm like, so if you're gonna tell a story about the guy from My Left Foot, do you have to get the guy from My Left Foot to be in it now,
that's a really good point. Or if you have
right?
someone who doesn't have a beard and they put an artificial beard, will the beard lobby go after you for pretending to have a beard?
Right.
It's
Like they
it's
did with the witches, right? Like they
yeah,
did with the witches. Oh, now you're making the witches bad people. It's like, this is a story by Roald Dahl,
it's a story. Yeah,
you know,
yeah. You're gonna be okay.
and people were saying, oh, it's because of handicaps, like people missing arms. Like,
Yeah,
it's got nothing to do with those people. Are
yeah.
you, is your brain not working?
Yeah,
You know,
you're so right. We've regressed. I mean, we were talking about the 70s where look at the flowering of you're able to address so many different things and talk about things. Now we're so worried about offending people
yeah,
or people wanting to be represented in a particular way, that ironically you're removing them from the conversation.
That's
And
it.
I'm not going to touch it and talk about it. And
Yeah.
only animals should be used in voiceover. Exactly.
This is a perfect point, right?
It's
like
that,
only anime characters must be able to voice anime.
yeah, exactly. Where you're like, you realize how stupid you sound, right?
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because by that thinking, somebody who has a disability can't play an able-bodied person, and that's stupid. That's just dumb. I don't understand it. I think no good deed goes unpunished as far as this goes. Like it really is a path of someone well-intentioned not playing the what if game of like, well, if I remove that from the conversation, if I say that, am I really hurting the people that could get it? It's like, well, you can't have anyone like this represented in a film, but those are the actors that would be able to work if we allowed them to be in the film. And so you're right. You're putting on a nose for a character is as old as Shakespeare. To play a character like cannot tell people no, you can't do that. And that's the death of art right there. We were talking about, because now you're making a creative conceit of like, well, I might offend this person or that person. If you do that, you'll get nothing done. You'll make nothing.
The other thing I was thinking, like, do you remember that situation with ScarJo where it was an LGBT thing where she was going to do the role?
Yeah.
And because she was going to do the role, a lot more money was going to go into it. And not only that a lot more people would go see it, right? And because ScarJo's in it at the height of her career with the Avengers, people would be going to that just to see ScarJo. And now they get to learn about that person, for real.
Yeah. But
now
pull the story so that no one sees it, only because you're like, no, has to be this kind of person playing it, or that's it. And it's like, well, that now you've just taken the very thing you wanted to do, which is that message, and you've killed it. Because a mass audience would have been exposed to something that they wouldn't have seen before. And now you've stopped it by going, no, you have to do it. And now you've made it the rare air of it's good for you. And, we have to have this. And that is not the way to do it. You're absolutely right. Well-intentioned people, there's nothing more dangerous than a person who thinks they're doing what's good for you.
Was it like the gate? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Good intentions, and there is much truth to that, because that's a perfect example of, we're going to squash it from getting out to a mass audience, and this story that we would have learned about, this lesbian story, is killed because you think that they have to be what they are. So serial killers, only serial killers can play them. It's weird logic.
It is. I mean, when I saw that, like, the first thing was like, Gandhi, ScarJo, my left foot.
Yeah.
Right. Gandhi and my left foot, Oscar winner performances. Right.
Yeah. And introduce conversation about history, about character. Now someone else can tell a story, and they're not as scared because it's been out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the winnings. Like, I put this up. Like, this is, when I saw that thing, I put this up on my Facebook, and I went like, look at the wins it got, right? Best picture.
Yeah.
Right?
Writing.
Best actor, best director, best writing, best cinematographer, right? These are all Oscars here.
Yeah.
Costume design.
The story of Gandhi. Let's not lose sight of that. They're telling a story about,
exactly,
which opens a conversation about what's going on around Gandhi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why was he the way he was?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, we know a bit more about him, but I mean, like, if we didn't have Ben Kingsley play that role and go through what he went through for that role, because he's a friggin' method actor, right? Exactly. He lost so much weight and stuff.
Lost so much weight, and he honored the vision of how he was and the whole thing. It would be like us telling India, do not make a movie about Abraham Lincoln. And they want to make a movie about Abraham Lincoln. Let them make a movie about Abraham. Who cares? Let them make it.
One of the greatest things I love about manga and anime is they just make movies about every culture.
Anything
the right stories about any culture. Right now, there is I think it's Greek, like something of Zeus or something.
Yeah.
And
Greek myths.
I think it's Blood of Zeus.
Yeah. Yeah. Father Zeus.
I think every time somebody goes, yeah, you can't do that, you kind of wonder why they, is it because maybe you're the racist?
Yeah,
You know,
you do have to wonder that. You look.
maybe you got some prejudices you haven't worked out that you don't understand that's in you.
That's
See,
right.
one of the things whenever I when people sometimes bring something up, I always like listen.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
like just in how that's being delivered, because you know, like I was talking to gosh, Jeffrey Morris last week about how
Mm,
like I had a neighbor for
yeah.
3 months. He drove me nuts. We had to actually get police finally to actually do a call, get him removed, like
Yeah.
because the landlord couldn't force it out because this was freaking in the middle of lockdown.
Right.
And so we, I had to put up with it for about 3-4 months. And so what happened was it got to a point where I was like, I am going to hurt this guy very much because I've had head injuries, and my temper doesn't really work well when I get
Right.
too stressed out. And here he is yelling at me every day, and I'm thinking, is this guy a racist?
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah.
Because I've got nothing wrong with everybody else. Am I the bad guy here? And then I'm going, he's not racist. He's actually belligerent.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and then but then there are people I can go, I can hear it.
Yeah.
There is some prejudice in there. But that doesn't mean that everybody is like that. And I thought a lot of people now are like, they confuse what's what, and
I
so
think you're
they're
right.
too afraid to actually judge for themselves what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, uh,
You make a great point. Like I think the ideal we should strive for now, if we're honest about growing as a society, would be, I think we shouldn't put restrictions by the happenstance of our birth, you being born one way, me being right. There shouldn't be an automatic restriction on what we want to tell us,
so-
who we want to have be our people, and what things we want to address should not be a circumstance of our identity. That we should be acknowledged for our identities. It should be, was it a good idea? Did he tell it well? Is he doing
yeah,
it? If he's not, well, obviously we'll criticize. It doesn't mean we're racist, it just means it wasn't any
yeah,
good. But more
yeah,
importantly, you should be able to be talking about the same things I talk about. And
yeah,
someone of your own race shouldn't say, you don't think that way. You shouldn't say that. That's wrong. And I find that still to this day, you'll see it here where, African American citizen will have a different opinion and another one will say, that's not how we think. And I think to myself, can you imagine a white guy?
yeah.
We're white people and we only think this way.
That's it. Yeah,
It's like
and
eventually
it's like,
we
well, I mean,
all.
like I know no other like not many Indians think the way I think because they don't have my background.
Right.
They aren't raised with a white father, right?
Right.
They aren't raised with someone a solo mum growing
Right.
up, or
Right.
who's been raised by her auntie and uncles while mum's out there working and
Right.
trying to provide for me,
Right.
raised by my grandparents on a farm, and
Yeah.
then left home at 16 and living amongst teenagers and working away from home,
Yeah.
with my uncles, and like doing effed up stuff in the weekends,
Right.
which they don't know about because
Right.
I've got my money now. I can go and spend my money on my own stuff.
Yeah.
I'll go buy alcohol and get drunk all weekend and then go Monday, go to work again at freaking 17 years old, you know?
Right.
But so they don't have that experience of being around all other cultures. Like I've been around every culture I can think
Right.
of. I mean, my first girlfriend was Taiwanese, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then like my best friends were European, Rarotongan, Tokelauan, Maori,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all of those people
Yeah. It's
have
irrelevant.
made me who I am,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
who you are is what's important, not all the other things. You
Yeah.
know, I agree with you. We've gotten caught up in the identity of birth versus, is he a good person? Does he have something
Mm.
to say? Your friends, you don't go, well, this is my, this is my Asian friend and this is my thing. It's like, that sounds absurd, and no, real people don't do that.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. I'm really pleased that you are who you are, because you're open to all these things, but it's coming from you and from a real place, and it's
Yeah.
not your of birth. That's just happenstance. There's no sphere of control over that. We can influence it, we can do whatever, but who cares?
It's like making me choose between my mom or my dad, right?
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't make
And
any.
and
Yeah,
it's like, well, it's I'm also mixed race, by the way.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
not my dad's mixed race. So like, I'm mixed race with somebody else, with my mom, but who's a different dad. But
Right.
then I'm in a family with my dad, who's been part of my life for about 40 odd years, you know. But
Sure.
now you're like, whenever, like when you, especially there's weirder things like people don't think about mixed race children in the question of this thing,
Yeah.
right? So what happens when you go to a guy, go, well, now, listen, we will support your blackness in you or your Indianness in you, but you won't support your Pakia or your European in you.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
well, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
what, you're gonna take half of me? And this is where we're
Yeah.
getting to a point where we like colorism comes in, right? Where you're too dark to play that role, or you're too light to play that role, and like, but then they dump all Europeans into the one thing. It's like, well, those Irish guys don't look those
Yeah, the Italians are nothing like. Well, you're right, and what a shame it is that we pit one against the other. It's like, why do we even assume that the baseline conversation is choosing a side, as if
Yeah.
one is a winner and one's a loser, one has this or that. It's like there's advantages to all these things, and there's flaws to all of them. But yeah, you lump me in with like a white guy in Israel. We have less in common than I do with you.
Yeah.
So it's absurd, and you're absolutely right that one day, if we're talking about a growth or evolution, one day maybe we can get past that and just go, this is who we are. We're not picking. I'm picking what I want to pick and choose from all cultures, and I'm not betraying one culture. I'm not betraying you by pulling from
Yeah.
this culture, that culture. And you're absolutely right, where it's like, you got to pick a side. It's like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, I mean, I think in the 90s we already had done that. The weird
We
thing
had-
was, we were going into the 90s, 2000, we'd done that. We'd gotten past that, and suddenly social media's just thrown us back into it. And
That's
I think
true.
like that's the weirdest thing about it. It's like I was like, you could walk down the street, nobody would care who you were.
Yeah.
And now it's like, who's
Yeah.
that?
It's like, yeah.
What's their background?
Exactly. Yeah. Your background. Let me celebrate you. And it's like, I remember in the 80s, it's like I had friends that were Asian. My friend Tosho was from Japan.
Yeah.
I had friends and everything. I didn't once introduce them like, oh, okay, this is my black friend. It was like we just went and saw a movie. I look at movies from the 80s and I'm like, there's a black guy in that. What's the problem? Like you look
Right.
at the
A-Team, right? You look at A-Team.
Yeah,
It was in every home. Different Strokes was in every home. Cosby's, you know, all that, every home.
That we've regressed in a weird way. Like, I look at like the Dirty Dozen. I'm watching. It's like Jim Brown's in that thing, and it's like, black guys have been in any adventure movies. I'm like, no, that's not true. Look at like what Mario Peoples was doing in the '70s. It's like it's like we want to erase it selectively because then it victimizes us, and then well, I'm the first one ever do. It's what is it? Jennifer Lawrence said she's the first female action hero or something, and I was, yeah.
Oh, Shang-Chi, the guy from Shang-Chi, right? I'm the first kung fu hero, martial arts person, and I'm like,
I don't think so.
Wait, what happened to Bruce Lee?
What happened to Bruce Lee? Who?
Well, Jackie Chan. What happened to Jackie Chan? What? He doesn't exist anymore. What do you do?
Yeah, I know, and it's like you don't have to be the first. You don't have to be a victim of something to have your own merit. It's like just say, I am that. I am that. Now I'm making these martial arts. Do you look at Donnie Yen? He's living his best life. Nobody.
That's amazing.
Oh well, he's the first guy to be in a John Wick film. It's like, no, he doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
He's the reason John Wick films exist.
Yeah.
So
you've got all these amazing. I mean, like you. The problem with these, these people, right? Like who have these mindsets is they don't know history of cinema.
That's correct.
They don't know the stories they've been told. They don't know that there was like The Last Dragon, where there was a black guy in the hood,
and it was a big hit. It was a big hit, and you're absolutely right, because it to them it paints a better narrative. Say, I'm going a path nobody's ever gone before. I remember recently in the Oscars, it was like, I'm the first homosexual to ever win for best song, and I'm like, I have a feeling Bernie Taupin wants to talk to you. It's like let's celebrate it for what it is instead of creating a narrative that puts you in a position where I was a victim and now it's like no, you're building on the narrative, but who you are is less important than what you've accomplished. And I believe that to be true. And this is a great discussion that you and I can have, because if everybody was this honest, I think we could set that aside. I think we could actually just set it aside and say, okay, let's just talk about the comic books. Let's just talk about this. And it wouldn't be well, he needs to talk about this, or why is he talking to him about that? And you're absolutely right. I hope in the future more people have this kind of honest conversation about history, you know, and I would love to see, I would love to even see more of a connection, you know, say in African American music, you have music that's coming out now, but they don't know the history of, like, you know, Louis Armstrong and
Yeah.
all these people that were
Fats
blazing.
Domino, you
Yeah.
know.
You don't have innovation anymore.
Who's that guy that did boom, 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 boom? Gosh, blues guitarist. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, 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 boom. And like the amazing classic bass. I mean, you know, jazz musicians and stuff. And it's like
Wes Montgomery. Yeah.
It's like the only. It's like what happened with the Ridley Scott movie with the aliens, right?
Yeah.
They only know what happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They don't know anything else.
Anything
and so
beyond.
They could say, well, first female action hero kind of, you know, as you mentioned with Jennifer Lawrence. It's like, you know, but dude, these guys were killing it in the 70s. What are you talking about?
And if you're
That's
holding
because you
up as the best action movie, you need to learn from history. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I think we're better as artists and we're better as a culture when we embrace all of it, warts and all. Look at history, look at where we've come from, and that's the only way to grow. If you think you're reinventing the wheel all these times, then we're regressing, which we are. You know, not a lot of good comedy right now because we're too worried about offending people. But beyond that, there's a lot of truth in that, and there needs to be more in tone, which is exactly the reason that I'm trying to do something like Island of the Stars. Is like, the only way to get this message out and to get this film out there is for a grassroots of people to go, okay, you know, we're fed up with what we're doing so far, and with Hollywood and all this. Let's look at something else that you could do. Do I think am I investing in them? Do I think they can pull it off? Yes. Well, then put money into it. And then we take that and we make an original movie that draws on all the sort of tropes and stuff that you have.
So as we lead, I'm like, I want to, as we lead into that, you know, a lot of people don't know a lot more about what we've been talking about, and then also this film coming up. But I want to play this this reel that's on IMDb. Hopefully, that don't, you know, copyright strike me or something like that. But this is going to showcase, you know, who you're going to be backing, who's out here going, "Hey, back my film,"
so
you know,
this is
because
acting reel. It looks like, yeah.
So
look at that kid.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm Mr. Bernard Johnson, MD. I'd like to talk with Jamie about a certain heart condition. Diagnosis broken.
You need to get out of here before I call the police, okay?
Yeah, maybe you should call the police. See whose side they take. Warning, most cops are dudes.
Dr. Johnson, we need you in surgery right away. We can go to Mexico, go north.
We can wait 2 minutes. It's never late.
Put my ear on the track of my life and find out what's in store.
They say you never hear the one that gets you.
A precious body. So don't.
Could be fatal.
Or it could be fatal but not serious, or seriously fatal. I'd roll either way. I'm in.
You think you're cute.
Well, that's as good of a greeting as you're going to get this morning. Bad news from Bombay. Jacques Bertrand was arrested last night.
In Bombay? What the hell was...
Shooting on location? Bullet Ballet?
You started production on that?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. The first set of rushes just came via FedEx an hour ago.
How do they look?
Hello, your star is in prison.
So they look good?
I'm Baxter Smalls. I'm a time-traveling documentary filmmaker. I dined with the Pharaoh Khufu in 2597 BC. I was in Lakehurst on May 6th.
Did you doing voiceover, or is that John Cleese?
Here in 1023 AD, we find ourselves here, in fact, here, among the Vikings. We'll be looking in on the Viking culture in a small encampment. Lolly and I are moving, obviously, undetected among these Viking people. Hello! Yes, I'm Baxter Smalls. Pay no attention to me or the crew. Just go about your business. We're doing a documentary on you. Well done.
I am the great genie of the lamp, trapped these many centuries. I will personally grant you one great wish. To you.
I thought I got 3.
Inevitable downsizing. Perceptive one.
Wake up call.
Excuse me?
You need a 7 a.m. wake up call?
Sir, this is the operator.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
Well, you can help me with a wake up call. Round 7.
We don't provide wake-up calls here, sir.
Look, what kind of a hotel is this?
Honey?
What's the biggest thrill? Sitting at home, watching a movie? Well, it's putting yourself in the place of the characters. It's imagining that what's happening to them is happening to you. Specialize in the uncircumcised. You know, someone may work black. Is it okay to say black? Yeah, black men. Sure. And some people like the lubrication and some like it dry. You know, it depends on the actor, you know, different strokes for different folks.
Yes, I know that.
People not from around here stay at La Golondrina here in town.
Looking for the guy with the guns.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I got a dead Presidente here. Things that you might know otherwise.
Presidente.
This Presidente looks lonely.
He has many friends.
What kind of guns you looking for?
What do you guys use? What do you recommend?
What caliber?
Automatic.
They are nice. Automatic.
Was that some sort of veiled reference to my heaving bosom?
No, I was referring to the cotton Dacron blend of the clerk's utilitarian garb. It retains a slimming quality even when worn over work clothes.
How about this?
Like it in back too.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Ross!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
I love
awesome.
it. I love that kid. Oh my god. I haven't seen some of that stuff in a long time.
Following is a story.
So,
yeah.
What was that from? Like, I mean, like the little skits. Was it like a show or something? Or
that Raisin Brahms was for the American Arts Council. It aired for 2 years, raised millions for arts programs and music programs for school, and so it was a fake commercial. And I remember when I went to the callback, the director had worked with me before, but I was the only guy. Like, I was younger than I am now, and everyone else was these old German guys. I said, "Why did I book this? Like, how did I get it?" He goes, "It's easier to make you old looking than to make these old guys funny."
Yeah.
So I ended up booking that. But yeah, that was a for real PSA. I was really proud of it because it increased the interest in the arts, because it went viral and people were like, "What the hell is that?" And somebody even sent me a t-shirt that says Raisin Brahms on it with Brahms on it. So I was really proud of that one. Some of the sketches were from a TV show that I did with John Cleese. It was he and I did something that aired before the World Cup every year. It was called The Art of Football A to Z. And then you had a clip in there, I think, from The Office, and there was another thing from Safety Geeks and some other TV shows that I was a guest star on. But that for me was such a great learning experience. I worked with James Burrows, who did all the TV shows, from Cheers and all the things back in the 80s. I got to work with Christopher Guest. I got to work with so many great people, and I watched them, how they directed, how they handled people, how they talked to actors, how they created their vision. And so for me, really an on-set learning. I was a rare case in that I had been into film and cinema, and I came out here and I was directing a pilot, I think in 1992, and it was a sketch comedy pilot called Writer's Block. And I get up there and, I had done theater and I was an actor, but I was like, no, I want to direct, I'm directing. But I started doing all the characters in the sketch, and the producer's like, why aren't you in this? Like, you can do all these voices and all these characters and these British guys and all this thing. So I was one of that rare case of a working director who became an actor for about 15 years, and then worked back into directing, eventually culminating with, something like Trouble Is My Business. And I think it helped because I knew the technical, but I know how it feels to be on the other side of the camera and look for that feedback, that approval, that thing that you need to hear. And I think it makes me better as a director because I always know that even though you're worried about, there's a great story. John Cleese was talking about filming Holy Grail, and he had this great speech where he was Tim the Enchanter, and there was some smoke blowing. He's blowing up things left and right. And he's like, my name's Tim the Enchanter, and I'll get you from Cairo. And he said, I gave the best performance ever in one take on that thing. I loved it. And I looked up at the take, and Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam were there, and they're looking at it like this, and he's like, what? That was the best performance. They go, not enough smoke. All they were doing was watching the smoke in the background. And I never forgot that. And I thought, you know what? That's my little code word. Not enough smoke is that you need to pay attention to performance. Performance trumps everything. Performance is the thing that you're looking at. If something's a little out of focus or the smoke's not quite right, you've got to evaluate it and go, but the performance is there. I'm paying attention to that. And having to redo it for something like that, you've got to really question. It's like, well, was there enough smoke? Are they really watching? If they're watching the smoke, you're in deep trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's the thing about like trying to be too perfect, right? As well, because you're working in the medium of emotion as well with delivering your lines and stuff. Now, let's go more deeper into the Kickstarter and
Indiegogo, actually. Indiegogo.
And Indiegogo. Always, it's there. So I'm going to put this video on, and we'll get Vernon here to talk us through, and then we'll go deeper into it with you.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
My name is Vernon George Wells. I'm an actor and a producer. And what we're talking about is a wonderful film I'll be doing called Island in the Stars.
Island in the Stars is the story of a young woman named Jackie Driscoll, who on a faraway planet encounters a roguish space pirate who has with him a mysterious box that may lead to her missing father, as her destiny lies hidden on an island in the stars.
So my name is Emily Coop. I am an actor, singer-songwriter, and I'm playing Jackie. Island in the Stars is pretty much Pirates of the Caribbean meets Star Wars. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
It's the kind of movie that 14-year-old Tom would have been like, I want to see this. I have to see this movie. Because I think you should be making films. You should be making art that you yourself want to see.
So when we started putting this together, I just started going through my Rolodex of 40 years odd of people, not just people in front of the camera, but people behind the camera, people that I know, calling in favors and talking to people. Because I think that this film deserves to have the best.
Obviously, working with Dream Screens Australia is huge. They're an amazing, talented group of people, and the technology they're bringing into film is just fantastic.
It's going to be wonderful, and seriously, I'll be ringing a lot of you up to see this and pestering the heck out of you to get this film made, because I think it's wonderful.
Island in the Stars is truly an epic science fiction adventure film.
Island in the Stars allows for all of these elements to come together in this confluence of a movie that I want to see, that is a action adventure fantasy science fiction movie.
It will be fun, you will love it, and we will do everything we can to make it the best that there is. So please. This film will remind you of what you've missed out on and show you that it's still there, and you'll be able to talk to your kids and say, that's what it used to be like. Island in the Stars. I can't wait for you to see it.
There we go.
There. So we've got another 6 days to go for this.
Yeah.
Let's take us through all the,
sure,
all the perks here and stuff.
Yeah, that video is very evocative of how I want this to feel. We really put a lot in. The sort of lush soundtrack is going to be like that. The artwork, we're going to reach out to a lot of emerging artists who've been influenced by Sid Mead and Chris Voss and Bill Tankovitz and so many different people that that really is a great little time capsule sort of picture of where we were coming up for the concept. As far as the perks, they're all about enrolling you in the film. If you've ever wanted to be part of a film or have a credit in the film, or really it's purchasing the ticket when we need it, which is as we're going into production. Things like I'll Crush Your Barnacles, if you click on it, you'll see the list of things that you get. You can get a digital copy of the soundtrack, the poster. It's really a great way to make a contribution at any level. In the US, it's $9 to be able, to go in. You can see, you fill it out, you give us your name or whatever, and you're part of the film. You have basically given us an endorsement with your money of saying, I believe in this, I want to be part of it. This level of perk is cumulative. When you go beyond this to the next levels of perk, you get everything before leading up to that main perk. So as you move up the levels in these perks, you get more involved. If you're into physical media, you get a Blu-ray. And really what determined it, we wanted to make sure that we had the money to deliver this. So at a certain perk level, it's like, okay, we can start giving you physical copies. We can start a prop, like a map from this, or a piece of graphics. Some of them that get really fun is where you can interact with us. The behind the scenes, for example, you get a vlog that we're doing where you'll be able to dial in, and it's a bit like when you used to have DVDs and Blu-rays and you had the extras and you could do it. You're getting the extras as they're happening. So you're able to go in and see, oh, how's that scene being filmed? Or what are you guys doing with this? As you move up to some of these other perks, you're actually interacting with the cast and crew. You'll get a credit. You get an IMDb credit, which is a for real film credit. You get copy of the script and the poster and everything. It really becomes I was here. I put some money into this thing. And it's our way of saying thank you. Thanks for believing in it enough to put your money where your mouth is and vote with your pocketbook. And then as you go up, you'll see we also have it where we're trying to start to give back. We have a Blu-ray copy of the film. Then beyond that, we'll have seminars like a master class where you can learn about producing. You can meet the star. And sometimes if you can get yourself out to the set, you can sit down with us and have dinner. So there's a lot of opportunity to have access to the cast, the crew, and to myself and the producers and the various people involved in it. If you have your own project, you're like, I've always wanted to ask a question about my script or something. There are levels where you can get an actual one-on-one with us, and we'd be happy to pay it forward and do any conversation about your own project. So you can see, you're getting a Flotsam and Jetsam. You're getting a copy of it. You're getting the star chart. You're getting some prints of the poster. You're getting a Blu-ray. So you're getting some physical media. So it really is a kind of package of of being a piece of this movie, and you could tell people, I helped make this. You know, I actually have a credit in the movie.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize is that, like, you know, you're actually supporting something new and fresh.
Yes.
Something, you know, that people that are actually working on it are passionate about it. They're not just like ticking up a box. Okay, I'm going to be working on this movie and move on to the next project.
Yeah,
No?
it is an original thing that we want to see as a movie. You know, 14-year-old me wants to see this movie. It is, of course, an amalgam of all the influences and all the stories and universality. We're talking about myths about an hour ago. Well, we take all those myths and those things, and you know, what is it? Aristotle said that creativity is the art of hiding your sources. And it's becoming this story because I really wanted to tell this story, but this story is a universal story. Everyone's had a feeling of like, you know what, I'm living my life. It's a slow drip, but I'm bleeding. I need to do something about it. And that's why these perks are available. As you go up in price, it's us giving back more towards that experience of, if you go to the top levels, you're at the movie, you're on the red carpet, you're talking to the stars, you actually facilitated it happening. And I think that's a beautiful thing about it. I think the best crowdfunding is not about me, and give me money so I can make it, but how do we create a dialogue between you as the audience and us while we're making it, when it's actually happening? How can we get you enrolled in it? How can we get you involved and make you feel like you're a part of it? And so we really brainstormed for a long time. And I know Lucinda really good at coming up with a crowdfunding campaign. She's done this before.
It is really good. You know, that's one thing I love about what you've got said here. There's a lot of thought has been put into this crowdfunding.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long did it take you take Lucinda to put together this this whole thing?
That was about 3 months of work with all the graphics and creating you know, composite pictures, and we really thought about how to word things, and like, if we were doing it, what is it we'd want if we put in this money? And so it really was an evolution of, you know what, at that level, I would love to have a meet and greet, you know, sort of like a Comic-Con where you meet the creators, and I want to thanks, and I want to own a little part of this movie. So we started going, well, what would we want? And ultimately, at the end of the day, these were perks that we would have wanted when we were growing up. If we, you know, imagine access to some of our favorite films back then would have been amazing. Hero's Journey again. Joseph Campbell keeps coming up, but that's the VIP, you know, red carpet tickets. You get a signed copy, movie, the star chart, everything. That's a terrific perk. Someone went for the Leviathan, which is the absolute top one, and he was part of our Zoom calls. We've taken time to make him feel included. At that level, you're an executive producer. You know, to be able to be an executive producer for what, 7832, that's pretty good. And it does move our ball forward, because as you'll see in this, we've accounted for where all the money is going. We're being very intellectually honest about it. It's like, this is the admin, this is, you know, this is for setting up the PTY. We want to hire artists, we want to get the insurance, the data room, all those things. It's building the cash register so we can accept the next wave of funding, which is the big money. That's the millions that are going to be made. And we already have someone very, very interested. They just don't want to be first.
Right.
Yeah.
No, everybody's kind of like shy about things, aren't they? Like, when it comes to this. But you know, look, like I've said before, right? Everybody complains about what's out there. You know, that's being produced out of studios, and you can complain all day long, but there are people out here doing it, something new, something exciting. You have no right to complain if you don't support what's new and what's, you know, somebody in the indie is doing.
That's right. If you find merit in what we're doing and you want to be positive about it, this, honestly, I was thinking about, like, how do I communicate this? And it's like, the most honest thing I can say is, if you've been on there going, all this stuff is crap, and now why doesn't anybody do anything? Here we are asking, we're being as transparent as we can. If you have any means to help or be involved in it, this would be a place where we hopefully can do some positive change and show, you know what, this wasn't already a book. This wasn't already a remake or a reboot. But if you don't jump in, the message that we're sending is, no, I want more of the same. And
exactly. That's it.
You want to see this genre entertainment that isn't like every movie that's out. We're right here with our self open, just saying, please take a look, and if you find some merit, we've done the work. We have been working for years, and it's a movie I really want to see. Everyone involved shares this vision, and we wouldn't be doing it. It's too much work if we didn't see it.
Well, the thing here is, like, you don't have to have the thousands to support something here, right? You can support it with $10 or $5. It doesn't,
coffee. Yeah,
be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's buying the ticket when we need it, and you're right. For 10, you're in. There is no small backer. Everyone counts, because as we get that number up, we can show demonstratively that yes, people are interested in something independent that is a genre film that's still competing with the sort of Hollywood aesthetic that they don't make.
Yeah. Okay. So with that in mind, because I know you're pretty busy.
Yeah.
You're away from home right now. So what I'm going to do here in finishing is is give you like 3 to 5 minutes to what I call like the words of wisdom. Whatever you want to say to people out there about creation, or being creative and stuff like that. So give me a moment. I'll put you on full screen, and then with that we'll come back and we'll finish off. But thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, Tom. And like, seriously, I'm going to be backing this. So I'm not rich, but I will put my money down because I want to see this. Who's someone who's into fantasy, sci-fi, or horror. Those are my 3 genres that I that I love and that I work in. And like, someday maybe somebody want to go, hey, we should support you as well, or whatever. But you got to support people to do what creative things you want out there. If you don't do it, you're not going to see it, and then you're going to complain about it. I remember Tomorrowland comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I did something new, and it's like, but you guys didn't. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and look what's happened, right? We didn't get to see anything else apart from that.
Yeah, right. Look at Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise film that came out. It was an original IP based on the original manga, and no one went to go see it. Now they're like, a classic,
Yeah.
So,
and they're looking at doing part 2 now, right?
Only because of the home sales, though, that saved it. But that's the problem. Had it been, it came out, wasn't based on a book, wasn't a remake, wasn't a franchise. Had it come out of the gate and people had rewarded it thusly, we would have seen a shift. We would have seen more people experience. But that just verifies that old, completely wrong. Like, see, people don't want that. They want to see a reboot of Harry Potter, whatever they're doing, which they are doing, or The Office again, and
that's the weirdest thing. Another Office, right? Like, seriously, again?
Yeah, and again, it's because, everybody liked it before, and so that's my real take on it. As you're saying, the words of wisdom are, this is a dialogue. When you're creating something, you're doing it both for yourself and for the audience. Like, if you're really in that sort of zone of creating it, you're enjoying it for yourself. You're going through the struggle of creating it because you want to see it, but you always have your ear to, like, hopefully this is to entertain other people. This is, I can't wait to feel the rush of them enjoying it. And you should never lose sight of that. But by the same token, you as an audience member, your covenant with us, your understanding is, if we're putting things out there and we're doing it, you need to show up for them. You need to make sure that you are educating yourself and discovering these films, that you're not being lazy and just going to see the next, Saw or the next this or that, and rewarding them over and over again, because the messages that the companies that have the resources to make it are getting it is, give me more of the same. But then you're saying, I hate it, and I'm sick of this. I'm sick of, I don't like what they're doing with Star Wars. Don't like what they're doing. Well, stop ignoring independent works that are happening and start patronizing them, or that message gets lost in the translation. And you can't survive as an artist if they discover you as a genius 10 years later. Like the guy who directed Dredd, the Judge Dredd film that came out, that film didn't make any money, so he doesn't get to make more stuff. He doesn't get to do more stuff until 10 years later. People, that was genius. I love that movie. Oh, they should make, he should make more movies and things. Like, well, that was 10 years ago. So nice though it is you're discovering it now, he needed you to show up at the time. And that's true of any art. If you're starting your comic book company and you're throwing down some incredible stories, but people aren't paying for it, they're not voting for it by buying it, then that company will fold and be like, whatever happened to that guy? He was pretty good. It's not how it works. We have to be able to make a living doing it. And yes, YouTube is free. You're getting a lot of content free. We're getting very used to not paying for it. But do remember, there's someone who's actually making it. If you don't want robots to sort of take it over and just have it quantified with, predictive text of AI and AI's resynthesizing stuff, you've got to remember there's human beings that are making it for other human beings. We have to eat. We have to make a living at it. We have to find a model where you as an audience and we as independent artists get rid of this middleman corporation. We need to get rid of that and find a way that we can have a conversation where you like something we do, I get thusly rewarded enough to make the next thing, and we grow together and we decide what trends we're setting. We create some things. You're like, hey, surprise me. Come up with something new and surprise me. And then you as an audience show up for it. And I think in the next 10 years, if we start to use the power of our connection, here I am talking to you, you're in New Zealand, I'm here in LA. There is no barrier to entry for us to communicate and for us to be able to collaborate and support each other. Those barriers are gone. The barriers of distance and language and everything, irrelevant now. We have the technology. We can use it for good. We can use it for evil. We can tear each other down, social media, or we can support each other. It's a choice. And I don't think we've thought this through. And so at the end of the day, my wisdom is this. Look at what's being created. Look at what you're rewarding. Where is your emphasis being put? Is it on the negativity of just tearing down what companies are doing, but continuing to reward them for doing it? Or is there a way we can break this? And not just with my work, but look at everyone's work. People are out there. The hardest thing to do is discovery. To find your work, your bliss is beautiful, but it means nothing if you paint a painting and hang it in the closet. And you'll starve and no one will see it. We have a way to get our art out to everyone, but we still have to survive. So I would say this to you, the next time you look at some art that an artist has created, think about how you can support it. Whatever your job is, whatever your vocation is, what makes us human is our stories, and what we reward, we'll get more of. So are you rewarding the right thing? And that's really my take on it.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's all from us. And please do go out and check out Island in the Stars. The link is in the chat, but I'll put it in there again so you guys, have no, you can't complain. It's like, I didn't see it. So please, it's there. Indiegogo. I kept saying Kickstarter, but it's Indiegogo. It's there. Island in the Stars, Aussie sci-fi adventure film. Steampunk meets Pirates of the Caribbean meets Star Wars.
Yeah,
original. It's just
exactly.
Yeah, original Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just an
Really,
adventure, and
it's got some space pirates in it, and it's a mythic adventure. That's about as close as it gets. But everyone needs to know, well, what's it like? Yeah.
Well, that's what it's like. So please check it out, and you'll see more about it on the link there. But please support it. Like we said, there's no reason to complain if you don't support something out here. So
Agreed.
thank you, Tom, and all the best, man. I saw we were mentioned. New Zealand was mentioned on there as well. So hopefully something happens with our with our creatives as well. So
absolutely.
awesome.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful for being on here, and really a pleasure getting to meet you here on here. It's wonderful.
Awesome. All right, guys. Ka kite anō. See you next time. Wherever you are, be well, be safe, and hug your loved ones if they're close by. And see you next time.
Take care.